Stop chasing one specific person and do this instead. This is kind of a problem in our modern culture, probably throughout historical culture as well. We have a sort of illusion that we continue to perpetuate, a sort of twisted mental concept of what it means to be in a relationship with somebody. And you can see this in popular music and TV and movies, books, just the way we tell stories and the lives of you and other people you probably know. And that is the idea of the other half, that prince you need to find, the princess you need to save from the dragon, and then live happily ever after. The idea that there is some other person out there who is the other half of you. And the reason this illusion is so problematic in our culture is that it perpetuates the belief that you are intended to be half a person, that you are, by virtue of just being who you are, half of what you should be. Fundamentally, there are issues, there are things about me that I need somebody outside of myself to fix. And when we have this belief held deeply within ourselves, these things actually contribute to pushing people away who we would like to have in our lives. This is the basis of being needy, or being a people pleaser, or being a nice guy, nice girl. Chief among these tendencies is that if I believe that you, whoever you might be, are the other half that I need because I fundamentally am not good enough. I fundamentally am broken in some way, and I need to find my other half, find my happily ever after. People say I'm trying to find my person. What does that really mean? Well, if I'm operating under the assumption that there is something fundamentally wrong with me, and you are the gateway to my solution, my inner feeling better, firstly, I put a lot of pressure on you, and this is the core of neediness. The core of being a nice guy is actually you put a tremendous amount of pressure on the other person. This is counterintuitive at first, because if you are a kind of nice person, you think, well, no, I do everything to take the pressure off of them. I do everything to make them happy. It's everything for them. But it's really not. And that is what separates niceness maybe from kindness, from genuine doing things for other people. Niceness is born out of a sense of, I need something from you, and so I am going to try to make you happy to get what I want from you. It is transactional in nature, and it is once that pattern becomes noticeable to the other person, is very repulsive. Because it feels, and it is, very manipulative. And this is why chasing one person never really works out very well. What you're doing is, firstly, you have imagined that I'm broken and this person is my other half, my soulmate, my whatever. They are going to be the solution that fixes what is wrong with me. Therefore, I need them. I need them in my life. They are supposed to be, we are meant to be, whatever the story you tell yourself, whatever the particular conditions you've set up, you now have a dependency on this other person because you have said, I am broken in some way. I am half. They are my other half. They are what I need. We are meant to be. I have to have them. If you're watching this video and you have chased one particular person, you've probably experienced that it doesn't always work out. It was not necessarily, in fact, meant to be. And people even tell themselves a story to make themselves sort of feel better and more entrenched in their belief about that. They'll say, well, that was the one that got away. In other words, it wasn't supposed to be this way. I was supposed to be with that person, that one specific person who I either really idolize and would love to be in a relationship with, or the one who got away, the person who, was meant to be my soulmate, never panned out, and now I'm broken, I'm half a person. All of that is a story in your own head, a story that by definition does not gel with reality, especially if you have been broken up with by that person, if you had that relationship and lost it. Your inner dialogue, if you are focused on that, chasing one person, I need that relationship, I need love, I need. That's the neediness. So, if you're operating on that story, the one who got away, the one who it was meant to be, it is fundamentally not true that that person was the one. If you're obsessing over the one person who you think would make your life great or would have made your life great if things had been different, things weren't different. Things are the way they are, right? So, it is fundamentally not true that you were meant to be together, because you probably are not. So it's a kind of weird psychological game we play with ourselves where we say, well, if things had been different, if this person had been someone other than who they were, they would have been perfect for me. But we don't think about it like that. We tend to think, what did I do wrong? I screwed it up. I messed it up. They still were the one for me. We become so addicted to the mental picture we project onto other people. And that is the ultimate disservice and the reason why stopping chasing other people. Because you can't actually chase other people. All you can really chase is your own mental projection that you put onto other people. So what we do is we imagine a life with the other person. We imagine what we think things would be like, or how we think things could have been different. They say, oh, if I would have, not broken up in high school, would have gotten married and had kids, and we would have had a great family now, and it would be so much better than this. It's all an imagined story. What we do when we have all of these preconceptions, when we're so attached to this other half story, this idea that there's someone out there, and if I only find them, then it's going to fix me, we are doing ourselves a disservice and a tremendous disservice to the other person. Because if I am projecting at you that you are the one who's going to fix all of my problems, I can never really be in a relationship with you. You have to deal with my idea of you being more important to me than you actually are. And that's what people who have these, the one who got away, or the high school sweetheart that they still wish they'd gotten together with after, 40 years. They're addicted to their own story. It has nothing to do with the person, because the person is gone. The person is not in a relationship with them. It's not real. But the story was so real to them. The story was so important that the story overshadows who the other person actually is. And this is the key energy that is behind putting people on a pedestal. You are substituting your image of them, how cool you think they are, how beautiful, if only that person was in my life, it'd be so great. And what you're doing when you do that is you have imagined what life with this person. You don't actually know. They are a human being with likes and dislikes. They have good days, they have bad days, they have ups and downs. What we tend to do when we put somebody on a pedestal, when we are pursuing that one person, or the idea of that one person, we envision all of the good things, all the reasons they are better than us as a humble mortal. And then we say all of these great things about this person, and I'm way down here. Man, I'm so bad. But if I had that person, if I could get that one person, my other half, then I would feel whole. I would feel complete. It would change my life. It would be great. I need that. So what we do in essence, when we are chasing one specific person, one relationship, when we are chasing the idea of the other half, that only works if I view myself as incomplete and then I become dependent on you. Because let's say we get together, right? You and me in this hypothetical situation, we are two halves, we have joined. Well, now we better hope that we continue forever to view each other as the other half. That other half only works as long as both sides think they are broken and become dependent on that meeting each other's psychological sense of lack forever, which is not a healthy relationship. That is a codependent relationship. When you are locked in this battle with your own self-worth, with your own sense of feeling enough, then I can never really be in a relationship with you, with the other person, because I am only in it for me. I'm in it because you make me feel whole. I say I'm in love with you, but really I'm in love with the feeling that you bring to me, and you better hope that nobody else ever brings that feeling better, or I'm going to leave and go to them. That's what happens in the majority of relationships. We become addicted to the feeling of enoughness, the feeling of, oh, this person makes me feel so good and I'm so happy to be around them, it's so amazing. And if that goes away, then so do we. Say, all right, well, something changed. You must not be the right person for me anymore. We are basing our entire ups and downs in these relationships on our basic preconception that what your job is in this relationship is to make me feel better about me. That's what we're doing when we are chasing one specific person, when we're chasing the idea of the other half, when we're out there hyper focused on this one person's gonna make my life amazing and I need this relationship to work. It makes us very attached to results, which brings up a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, because if something goes wrong, I'm going to screw it all up and I'm going to lose my one shot. Because I've imagined that I only have one shot. It makes it very important, right? Secondly, it makes it impossible for me to interact with the actual person because I have the picture of you as the ideal, beautiful one person who never makes any mistakes and everything you do is right and I just need you in my life. It doesn't leave you a lot of room to be a real human. It doesn't leave you a lot of room to breathe. You can't actually interact with me on any real level because I have a picture of you that is so important to me, I reject who you actually are, and I substitute the picture that I think is going to solve my life. And this core delusion of the one other person, the other half, that specific relationship that's gonna fix my life, is the core of so much of our anxiety, so much of our fear around relationships and dating and opening up to people. We have the idea that if I do something wrong, everything's gonna be broken forever. And that's only really true because we've deluded ourselves into thinking that there is one other person out there who's supposed to fix me. And that's firstly, not their job. That's your job. And secondly, when you go out there with that projection, it becomes very frightening for you because everything suddenly is extremely high stakes. If I screw up this relationship, it's all over. But it also puts a lot of pressure on the other person. They are not really allowed to be themselves. You are not interacting with reality. You are instead chasing an imaginary picture of who you think they might be. When I substitute my version of who I think will fix me and I project it onto you, suddenly you can't be you. And people don't generally like that. People who have a nice sense of self and are kind of okay with themselves will find that off-putting. People who are empty inside and really crave approval and validation will temporarily find that attractive, but it is not a stable relationship. That is inherently codependent. It doesn't generally end very well. And if you've had a lot of patterns of toxic relationships, you might have noticed this in your own life. It doesn't tend to work very well. So instead of chasing this idea of the one specific person, the happily ever after, what do? Well, you can realize that maybe by relaxing a little bit, you can take the pressure off both of yourself and the other person. You are free to go on more dates, try more experiences, do things you otherwise would not do, to be more open when you let go of the story that there is this one specific person you need to find. In doing that, you might find yourself meeting more interesting people, more open people. And what you can find is that you might be able to enter a different kind of relationship, a relationship with people that is real, not based on this kind of psychological need-based projection of who I need you to be for me to feel okay. That's so twisted to expect somebody else out there to just kind of fix the way you think you are. Because you are the one who thinks you are broken. So you want them to change how you view yourself. Not going to work very well if you think about it, because you are the only one who can change who you feel about yourself, regardless of what they do, because you're the one who's thinking it. So, instead of chasing one specific person, instead of chasing the idea, being the neediness that comes with that, it's overwhelming, it's all-consuming, and I have been this person in my own life where I had this negative view, this story I told myself about how I was worthless and unlovable, and no one would ever like me. It was my own story that led me to be pretty much miserable most of the time, to have incredibly negative self-concept. It was all in my head. It had no bearing on reality. But as long as I had that, I was incredibly attached to results. I was terrified to ask people out, because what if they rejected me? There's going to be more evidence, more proof that I was unlovable. What if that one girl who I really liked, she didn't like me back? That would be heartbreaking. That would be shattering. And so I let the fear that's this one person, the fear that I needed to do it all right, keep me from doing anything at all. I would almost never ask anybody out unless I was 100% sure they would say yes. I was so attached to the image of making sure this one thing, making sure it worked, making sure people liked me, so attached to all of this, that I was basically paralyzed. I couldn't do anything because I had so many strings saying, well, if, what's going to happen? It's going to be so bad. Oh no. Take it from me. Relax a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. We get so caught up in believing that everything is going to be this huge life-changing event and it's all matters so much. Really, you can go up and ask somebody out. And if they say yes, great. If they say no, great. It doesn't really matter. It's almost a numbers game. Like, there's so many people out there. But when we become overwhelmingly attached to the idea, I substitute my idea of you for who you really are. Then I become petrified. I can't go talk to you. I see you and I think, oh, that person's so attractive. I'd love to go talk to them and ask them out. They seem so cool. But I'm just over here, and they're probably this awesome person, and they look so happy over there with their friends, and they probably think I'm weird, and what we're doing already, we've written a narrative in our head. No, I'm not interacting with you anymore. My conversation, my inner dialogue only has to do with who I think you are. It's not about who you really are. And all of a sudden there's a battle between who I think I am and who I think you are. And they're battling it out in my head. And then whoever wins determines what I do. And it's stupid. In reality, if I just go ask you out or go talk to you, maybe I don't even want to ask you out because I haven't talked to you yet. That's another psychological projection. When we let go a little bit, when we realize that we are living in this kind of weird, illusory state where we paralyze ourselves based on our ideas, not based on reality, but based on our ideas of reality. We can free ourselves a little bit from that paralysis by letting go, by realizing that all of this attachment is often silly and often meaningless. It's not real. And it's a stupid way to live your life, basically. So, instead of chasing one specific person, let go of the idea that there is the other half. Let go of the idea that you need the one person to solve you, to fix your life, to make you feel whole and complete, because it will never truly work. What you do need to do, if you have that inner void, if you have that feeling of, I'm not good enough and I can't do it and no one's ever going to love me, what you need to do is check out this video next where we deal with that exact topic. Thank you so much for watching. Check that out if you have any further questions about, how to let go of those inner feelings of worthlessness in the first place. And where do they come from? Great video. Check that out. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.